Hi all, this is Alessandro from Sonora Cinematic, and today I'm going to introduce you to something that I am extremely proud of. Harmonic Bloom, our brand new sample library. Let's have a look. Harmonic Bloom exploits the concept of the harmonic series to turn noise into musical material that you can use in your own compositions. Let me explain what I mean with this. So here we have a noisy sample, specifically some beautiful field recordings of insects at night. It sounds like this. Nothing very exciting. However, let me bring all these faders down. Now let's move this fader to pitch. Let me press a C and let's start raising these faders. Here's the fundamental. Here's the first harmonic. Here's the second harmonic, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth, and the seventh. How about we add some delay and some reverb? Let's increase the attack a little bit. And now we turn this into a beautiful pad. And you can move this dynamically. It's by default mapped to CC1, your mod wheel. Harmonic Bloom is analyzing in real time the notes that you are playing on the keyboard and is using a series of bandpass filters, setting the cutoff frequencies of these filters to specific points in the frequency spectrum corresponding to the fundamental and the first 7 harmonics of that note. Moving the noise to pitch fader, you are actually increasing the resonance level of those bandpass filters, thus creating a pitch. And this happens polyphonically, so it's pretty amazing. You can create some pretty complex and experimental soundscapes. If it sounds very complicated, don't worry about it because you don't need to know any of that. Harmonic Bloom does all that for you. Let's explore this concept a little further. Harmonic Bloom features 30 different sound sources, anything from different flavor of analog and digital noise, field recordings, machinery, tape hiss, you name it. But on top of that, we sampled in detail 50 beautiful instruments and curated a selection of 50 different presets organized in categories that match these two layers together. Now I bet that you'd like to load in your own samples. Let's do that. For both layers, the last slot is dedicated to a basic sort of sound. For example, for the noise layer, we have a basic white noise. And for the main layer, we have a basic sawtooth wave. This can be useful as they are, but it can also be replaced by your own samples. To do this, all you need to do is to drag and drop something onto the waveform of the layer that you want to add that sample to. For example, let's add some noise. Here's a simple white noise that has been passed through a mid-side matrix and processed differently on the sides and on the mid channels. It's a very long sample with a very interesting, evolving kind of character, and let's just drag and drop it in here. Harmonic Bloom is gonna do a bit of calculation, taking a bit of time, and now it's ready. Again, for example, I'll decide to only bring up some of the harmonics, and I can create something really rather interesting. Now I can bring the level of the pitch up, increasing the resonance of those filters. There you go. I can drag and drop something on the main layer as well, but for example, let's just choose a simple analog pad. I love how this one sounds. We can mix it with the noise in, and I can create something again very interesting and very unique. And this is why I love this. It's like a sound design playground. That's why I called it a creative sound design environment, because it really allows you to bring your own samples, use the tools that are built in, and create a sound that is completely yours. We already briefly touched on it, but let's repeat it quickly. Harmonic Bloom comes with some pretty cool effects. You have delay and reverb that come with a good selection of settings. The delay can be of different types. It can also be tempo synced if you want. Same thing with the reverb. It's both a whole and a room algorithm. And you have independent sends for both delay and reverb for each layer. The pretty cool thing about the sense knob is that if you're not planning on using reverb or delay, or if you're planning on using external effects, maybe in your DAW for example, you can turn them all the way down, and these are bypassed under the hood automatically, and this will help you tremendously saving some processing power, which is pretty cool. Each of these layers also feature a low pass filter with cutoff and resonance control, which you can obviously MIDI learn and assign it to whatever control you like, which can be pretty cool. We very consciously decided not to map many things here by default, and we sort of wanted to leave you the freedom of assigning each controller as you see fit. The exception to this is obviously if you, as I already said, if you own one of the Native Instruments controller, since this is NKS, that comes with a bunch of parameters that you can control on the controller itself, which is pretty cool. Last but not least, a big part of the fun with Harmonic Bloom is using the plethora of LFOs to modulate all the noise layer parameters. Let's have a look. You access the LFOs by clicking on Noise Mode. The modulation panel appears, and you can modulate pan, volume, harmonics filters, as well as the noise to pitch ratio. And For the panning position, the volume, and the filters, we have these controls on a pair harmonic basis, which is pretty cool. You can create some pretty interesting evolving and moving soundscapes. Let's see how. All the LFOs are multi-shape, so you can either choose to only have one shape, or you can create sort of complex waveform for complex modulations. So for example, let's decide that we want to change the panning position of the harmonic 2. So we can bring the intensity to 100%, and let's leave it unsynced for now, and let's get something slow. You hear it moving, it's pretty cool. And we can do something similar for the volumes of many other filters. I don't know, I'm moving somewhat randomly here just to have some fun. We can sync this one, for example, and let's have this happening every quarter. You see that this last shape over here is random, so you have an element of randomness in that. Let's move the pitch a little bit with the mod wheel. And same thing with the filters, which is essentially this guy over here. But let's modulate the noise to pitch. So basically, let's have an LFO control this, which I think can get pretty interesting. Let's bring it to 100%. Let's not sync it. And again, let's get it to something like 0.95 hertz, something like that. Let's actually give it a square shape so we can get something a bit rhythmical going on. So obviously I can instead sync it, and let's do it maybe in triplets. An element of randomness, the last shape is random. Lots of really interesting results that you can experiment with. I really hope you enjoy this library. I absolutely love it, and I hope that you love it as much as I do. For me, it's a really fun playground to bring your own samples, or to use the samples that are bundled in to give your music an element of uniqueness. There is really a lot to experiment with. Harmonic Bloom is available right now at sonoracinematic.com for an intro price. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment down below if you have any questions at all. I'll try to answer them as much as I can, and I'll see you next time.